Hi, Year Nines. We're looking at enlargements today. So here's the starter. So if you'd like to do this and then press pause on the video, that would be great. So you go ahead and get started on that. All right, so hopefully you've marked your work with your green pen, and now we're going to start talking about enlargements. So enlargements mean generally making something bigger. So here's a nice little square. It is 3 squares across the top, 3 squares across here, and 3 squares across here. Question says, enlarge this shape by a scale factor of 2, which means we're going to make both sides bigger by 2. So 3 times by 2, the top side is going to be 6, and 3 times by 2, the other side is also going to be 6. So this side is going to be 6 squares, and this side here is going to be 6 squares. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw a new square where both sides are 6. So I can start anywhere that I want. I'm going to start here, just right at the end. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I go up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and straight across and join that all back up. And now all of the sides are 6. 6 here and 6 here. So this square here is 2 times bigger than the square that we started out as. All right, hopefully that example made sense. We're going to try another one. Enlarge this shape by a scale factor of 3. So the only difference about this one is that we can't check all of the sides. On this one, I'm going to check this side down here. So that's 2 squares, and this side over here, which is 2. I'm going to completely ignore the diagonal line because I don't actually know how big it is. So it's by a scale factor of 3. So this side is going to get 3 times bigger, and this side is also going to get 3 times bigger. So I'm going to make a triangle where the base is 6 and the height is also 6. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now the base is 6 and the height is 6, so I can join those up. Okay, all done. All right, again, same kind of example. It's just that the shape looks a little bit different than the last ones. So the last ones had very common shapes, which were squares and rectangles. This time we're going to enlarge this green staircase by a scale factor of 2. So across the bottom is 3, and up the side is also 3. So that is going to be 3 times 2 and 3 times 2. They're both going to be 6 squares big. So let's go ahead and draw that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Across the top here is 1 square. 1 times by 2 is 2 squares across. Down here is also 1 square. 1 times by 2 is 2, so 2 squares down. And the same thing, instead of going 1 square across, I'm going to go 2 squares across. And instead of 1 down, I'm going to go 2 down. And instead of 1 to the side, I'm going to go 2 to the side. And instead of 1 back down, I go 2 back down. All right, now there's the general shape. Obviously, mine's not that great because I did not use my ruler. Please make sure you use a ruler. All right, one of the last examples, this is still exactly the same idea. We're still going to make this shape exactly 2 times bigger because it has a scale factor of 2. The only thing that's different about this particular shape is that it's got some slanted lines on it, or some diagonal lines, and that makes things a little bit more confusing. So I'm going to start by looking at the bottom of this. So the bottom of this shape is 3 squares across. 3 times by 2, which is the scale factor, is 6. So I need to draw 6 squares across on the bottom. So I'm going to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. That's the bottom. I'm going to do one of the sides now. So this side used to be 2 squares. 2 times by 2 is going to be 4 squares tall. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And the same over here. This side was 2. 2 times by 2 is 4 squares tall. Now, this is the part that I think is a little bit confusing. So I'm going to do this little slanted line right here. So it goes from this green dot to this green dot here. And I need to think to myself, how do I get from one green dot to the other? Well, one way to do this is to go across 1 and up 1. But instead of going across 1 and up 1, I'm actually going to go across 2 and up 2. So I'm going to start over here because that's where the green dot would start. I'm going to go across 2, 1, 2, and up 2, 1, 2. And that's going to be my new top of my actual shape. And then I can just draw the rest of it in there. Okay, I would say that this is definitely a more complicated version of enlargements. When you have the diagonal lines, it definitely makes it more difficult to try or to count. All right, the last example from me today, it says on the grid, enlarge the shape with a scale factor of 3. So I'm going to show you a sneaky way to do this because all of the corners of or all of the lines of this shape are all diagonal lines, which makes this really complicated. So one little sneaky thing we can do is I can actually draw a really lovely straight line down the middle of this shape and across this shape as well. Now that's really going to help me out in this particular question. So the line that's going up and down is 4 squares up and down. 4 squares up and down times by 3 gives me 12. So I need to make a shape that's 12 squares from top to bottom. So let's try this out. So what if I start right here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And going across the shape is 2 squares going across. 2 times by 3 is 6. So I need to go to the middle of this particular shape and I need to draw 6 squares across. So if I start back here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's the exact middle. And I need to go, half of 6 is 3. So I need to go 3 squares on either side. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. So there's a corner there, there's a corner there, there's a corner at the top, and there's also a corner at the bottom. So let's join those all up. All right, and there you go. It's all done, just like that.